Watanuradu, and welcome to this special KTV Facebook Live. I'm Joe Delarone. We're here at the greenspace, and there are just hundreds of people here. The March from Survival School has just concluded. Of course, people are very upset about the proposed Bill 96, which is probably going to be passed by the Legault government, but not if Kahnawake can help it. It takes a lot to unite a community like Kahnawake, as we all know, but in this case, people have come out in droves. Joining us at the beginning of this program, before these speeches happen, is the director of the Kahnawake Education Center, Robin Delarone. Robin, this has been just a whirlwind in the past few days. You had a meeting last night with quite a few people, and today, hundreds turning out. So just give us your thoughts on today.
Well, obviously today is for me a very exciting and inspirational moment to see not only the students coming out here and voicing concerns in terms of the protests, but the community who's behind. I'm just shocked by how many people are here. And I was saying before, I remember in 1978 being a part of a walkout at Howard S. Billings for Bill 101, and how this community came together in opposition of that. And unfortunately, we're here again today to have to come together and still opposing all of these laws and regulations being imposed on us. But I'm so pleased the community's here, and we're going to be now. The next stage is looking at what's next.
And today with a protest, trying to get the Legault government to pay attention is very difficult, and you have to be careful in how you message things, because it's not that the community is anti-French, but we're pro-Kahnawake. And also the working language is Kahnawake and English here. So therein lies the problem, and therein lies the challenge of getting people outside to understand and getting Legault to show some respect. So what happens from here?
We're waiting in terms, I know that politically there's a press conference happening in Quebec City. It's about bringing awareness and raising awareness in terms of our community and in the surrounding areas with the English. But it's really about, unfortunately, this is the only time that we get recognition from the provincial government, is when it comes to a situation where we're either walking, making a blockade, and then it's, yes, we have to sit and meet and talk about things. But, it's going to come up to the community coming up with some ideas of what's next. And like you said, we're not going to sit back and just let this pass. There needs to be some coming to the table, looking and considering, how this impacts us, and whether it's exemptions and so forth. But definitely there has to be sit down and talking about this bill.
I guess it's not only symbolic, but just realistic that today we're seeing students coming out, because they're the ones who are going to be impacted probably the hardest at the initial stages of this bill. So just some thoughts on what this could mean for students.
For students, it's a systematic process where there's hurdles that they need to get by, and for students with these hurdles that they're facing, it's challenging enough to go to CEGEP and to learn new content and be engaged in a new environment. But then when you put French language as additional courses, that for them it may not be applicable. You may want to have that choice of I'm going to school, I intend to take that knowledge, bring it back to my community, and if they want to later on say, I think I need French, that should be provided as an opportunity. Or if someone's going in saying, I want to be a doctor, I want to go work in Montreal in emergency, I am going to get all the French I can. It's about we making choices that are best for us, that develop our community, enrich our community. And that's what we need. We need our people to be educated. We need them to make their choices that they want and come back and fulfill their dreams, and not to be dropouts and not to be, very unhappy young people. And that leads to a very unhappy community.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I know you've been doing, so much work on this, and I guess after today, you'll be able to rest up and start over at 7 a.m. tomorrow.
Yes, earlier, Joe, earlier sometimes.
Thank you so much. Robin Delarone is the Director of Education. And, of course, she's been pretty busy. Joining us as well is Jackie LeClaire, who is the principal over at the Kahnawà Survival School. And the students at Survival School have led today's actions that we see. A huge turnout. And there's a sense in the air of unity. I can't think of another word for it, but seeing people of all stripes in the community here today, it's very encouraging that people will gather when it's time to fight the good fight. Jackie, just some thoughts on today.
I think it was really, really great. I think the kids were really excited about, being part of actually hearing, somebody listening to their voice and everything else, and actually finally opening up and actually walking with them to say, look, this is about us. We need something done now. You need to support us and everything else. I think that's what was so great with everyone. I didn't expect that many people to come. And I was so amazed that everyone came we asked the community to come support us and everything else. And it was such a big outcry. I know Merrick is our associate principal. I know he'd like to say a few things. So.
Yeah. I think the best word that you utilized, the unity, that really does sum it all up. I mean, to see so many different stripes and colors, as you mentioned, but this extends past Kahnawà. This isn't just about Kahnawà. This encompasses so many different communities. So this is not just our fight. This belongs to everybody. And I mean, even French-speaking communities alike. This bill is going to impact them. I don't know if they're fully realizing that English, unfortunately, is the language of universal communication, right, here on Earth, right? So the main issue that's going to be is when they want to learn English, is this going to impact them too? Yes, that's the short answer. It's going to impact them. I mean, here within Kahnawà, I'm hoping that Kahnawà will really look at this bill and say, okay, we're going to stand up and we're going to do something about this. We're going to let our voices be known. It's not just KEC level, like you see everybody here, it's different levels of the community. Everybody's coming together. That's the point. So about resistance, resilience, we want to push forward. We want our voices to be heard. This is not Bill 101 anymore. They're adding, I heard it today from one of the students, this bill is adding steroids to Bill 101. And what we want to do is obviously fight against that. Thank you.
You mentioned students. That was my next question. It leads perfectly into what I wanted to ask. You've talked to some of these students here. They're not just here because, we get a day off. They're here for a reason. What are some of the things that they have said to you?
They want to continue with their education. They don't want to be hindered. They don't want to be slowed down in their education. They don't want alternatives where they have to go to another province and then even coming back home. Does their education apply? Some of the kids were talking about, what does this mean if I go to the dentist? I'm not going to be able to understand the forms or anything like that. So they understand the bigger impact where it applies, even getting their license. Like the small things that we're not considering, that's going to be law. Through this bill, it becomes law where their exams, everything is going to be in French, so they're heavily impacted by it. So there's a lot of fear about this law. And a lot of some students just heard about it today. Some have been in the know for quite a while, but this is impacting all of us, regardless of where you're from.
Well, here's a sign as we go by here, and the sign is something that we haven't talked about yet in our little discussions with the various people. It's about the colonization and the fact that even though it's not a French versus English, it's a versus everything being pushed down our throats. So it becomes a very deep situation, so to speak, and it's good to see that. Let's just ask very quickly. Let's come over here for a second. First of all, I'm so glad you did this, because this is really the message. What does today mean to you?
Means that we got to keep our language strong, and they can't take it away from us like that, and they can't enforce the French or language on us when we don't even know our own. So I find we need to know our own language before we learn their language.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. What's your name?
Marissa Sky.
Okay, thank you very much. And her partner here, they have tired arms because they've been carrying this for a while. Same for you, the same question. What brings you here today? Why are you so passionate about this?
Because I don't believe that we should speak someone else's language, because this is our our territory, right? And we shouldn't have to be forced to speak someone else's language. And I do believe that English is a universal language, right? So I don't know why they're trying to push French into the school system. And that's just about all I got to say.
Okay, Nyao, what's your name?
Dawani Danega Stacy.
Okay, Nyao, go. Thank you so much. Let's move down this way and well, look who we have here. So let's talk about some of your thoughts here today. This has been an incredible turnout. We're waiting for, I guess, a couple of speeches to begin, but let's just talk about today.
Well, I have to say that I'm really moved and at the power of the people. You know, it really is an issue that's impacting us all. It makes me feel really proud, you know, that we're still here, we still have a voice, we still have a say. We're always fighting for our own language, and that's really what this is about too, is to preserve who we are. And our Ngwawana.
It's such a difficult thing, I guess, for people outside to understand the passion about this, because you have English people, of course, who have been here just as long as the French people. They feel like they're being pushed down, and they seem to be very supportive of what's happening here. But it's not necessarily an English versus French. This is just something that goes way beyond that, and much more of a challenge for us.
Yeah, I agree. Really, at the bottom of this all, the push seems to be nationalism for the Francophone people. And for us as Ngwehunwe people, we've been here since time immemorial. And, you know, we don't have another place to go and know who we are or relearn who we are. You know, the settlers came here from across the waters. They have places of origin that they can go and learn from. And for us, all we have is what's here, and we have to be able to preserve that, and we have to have that respect to not interfere in our ways and push their policies on us and their laws on us.
Well, you know, some would say that what we're seeing now is us getting involved in the fight for Bill 96 and getting involved in another canoe, but that's not really it at all, is it?
No, not in my perspective. It's really always that push for our survival and our nationhood to maintain who we are, and many of us are relearning what that is and what that means. So, you know, no, we've had alliances since they've come across. So I think if an issue affects us all, then we all have that right to protect, you know, our I don't know, I want to say sovereignty, I guess, you know, our ways, and I think we can ally together. I mean, we're all here. What do we do? How do we live side by side? And I think with Kahnawake, we've always tried to maintain that peace. It's always when we're threatened by something on the outside, you know. So this is, I don't think it's really, you know, getting in each other's canoes, you know, if you will. Yeah. The issue is affecting us all. It is.
I think one thing that's really sad when you think of what's happening in terms of the government, so to speak, is that here we just come through COVID, 2 years plus of just having a very, very difficult time. And before we get a chance to even breathe, the government decides, the Quebec government decides, let's throw a monkey wrench into a situation where there was no situation, which is really maddening because it's really separating people. And again, when we look at today, what we're seeing here is there's separation all over the place, but not in Kahnawake.
Not today. Yeah, that's right. Everybody came together like we knew we could, putting differences aside, if any, to make sure that we're all here for our identity and maintaining that. So I think really what's going on is it's the outside pushing this policy or this law is more I think on the selfish side, you know. I don't think they're seeing the effects it's going to have on anybody else because it's what they want.
Right.
So
Well, yeah. Well, Kahnawake, thank you so much. I know you've been working hard on this whole project here to get people to understand just what we're up against.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to do so. Anything to help spread the word on anything that's going to affect our nationhood. So.
All right, now we have a couple more people here. Just got to tell you again, there are just so many people visiting here. We're going to speak to a couple of the folks who've come out to support. One of the people who's here today is the executive director of the Kahnawake Language and Cultural Center, Lisa Phillips. Lisa, we've of course spoken many times in the past, but you're here today on something that, even though it's political, actually has a lot to do with what you do for a living.
Yes. Well, I'm the director of the Kahnawake Language and Cultural Center, and I've been working in language and culture for over 20 years. So this definitely has impacts on our language, and I've been thinking about it. I actually spoke last night at the meeting I'm happy to see all the support here. It's amazing. And I just reminded the people, that after this one is over, that I hope that, the support and the numbers of people will come out and support our language, it was very emotional for me, to see the support and the passion and the ideas that people have and the lengths that they would go to for English. So I just really would like that to be done for our own language too after this is over. But I have been thinking about different impacts on our language, and I think one of my main concerns too, we've always been told, that having English put upon us had families and people, having to make a difficult choice between what was important to them, English or our own language. So now I think, and French has already played a role in that. People send their children out to learn French. But with this Bill 96, that's going to make that even more so. So there are definitely impacts that are going to happen, in the line of work that I do and the staff at KOR do. And, it's sad. So, beyond all the other impacts that it will have, I'm just focused more on language as well. Our language.
Well, thank you so much. And I know it takes a lot to get up and speak at a public meeting.
It does. Yeah, well.
Lisa Phillips, and we have some speeches beginning here, so I want to get a quick word from Jeremiah. Jeremiah, you're here today. You're not of school age, yet you're here with all the students. Just a quick word.
Well, my children are not in school either, but in a time when reconciliation is on the mouths of the federal government, this is a clear attack and disregard of Native rights across the country, as well as English people. This is it's a big fight that a lot of people need to get involved in.
Mm-hmm. And you've never been afraid of that?
No, I've never been afraid of a fight.
Well, thank you so much for taking a few moments.
Oh, now go on.
All right, thanks. All right, we'll be back with more a little later on, but thanks for watching our special KTV on today's actions against Bill 96.
Long time no see. How you doing?
Not bad, you doing well?
Okay.